Welcome to the We Walk Free podcast, where every soul has a story. I am your host, Sarita J, and happy May 1st of 2026. Shout out to all the mothers. We all know that May is the month for Mother's Day. All right, I want to start tonight with a quote. And the quote says, "Ain't no hood like motherhood." And what I need the Mother Coalition to do, we'll have to come up with our own gang signs. I don't know what it's going to be, but we need to come up with our own little symbols, own little gang sign, own little, like the Crips got the Crip Walk. We got to come up with something because we out here in these streets taking care of these kids, making stuff happen, making sure they fed, making sure they know about Jesus. Okay, make sure the house is clean. We're doing all of these things all the while, trying to make sure we're together, trying to make sure we know Jesus, trying to make sure we're eating right, drinking our water, moving our body, trying to read our Bibles, okay, trying to be good friends and all these other kind of things. We're out here doing all those things. All right, so Mother's Day is very important. I don't think the kids understand what all we go through trying to bring them into this world. They don't get it. The girls won't get it until they have their own. And the boys won't get it until they have a wife, I guess. I don't know. But either way, May is a good month. I have friends and family that'll be celebrating birthdays this month, so I'll be celebrating with them. And a lot more to come. I'm excited. I don't know how your week has been, but we made it to Friday. All right, we made it to Friday. Look, clap, because we did make it to Friday. Well, I want to go ahead and jump into this lesson today. And I really want to take my time and kind of comb through all of my discoveries, the scriptures I read, and everything that I found. Now, I will preface this next few statements by saying I am not a therapist, nor am I a doctor. So, but I am somebody that has been through some things and I've done some research. So, today we are talking about the nervous system that God gave you. And according to my research, your nervous system is your body's complex internal communication network designed by God to coordinate all physical and mental activities. It acts as a command center, constantly gathering information from your environment, processing it, and directing your body's response so you can adapt and survive. Excuse me. If you remember, we read in Psalms 139 and 14 last week or earlier on Monday, I believe, where David was saying that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We rejoice. I will praise you because I have been fearfully and wonderfully made. The commentary on that scripture says, "You too," meaning us, "are a work of art that God put together by hand. You have been wonderfully made. So no matter the circumstances surrounding your conception, your existence is intentional. You are not a mistake, for God makes no mistakes. You were created in the image of God, according to Genesis 1 and 27, with purpose and meaning. This truth is to be the foundation for a person's self-worth and self-esteem." Now, a part of the way our nervous system is created, we're going to talk about survival mode, because as I gave you the definition, it says that it gathers information from your environment, processing it and directing your body's response so you can adapt and survive. So the survival mode that God gave us, okay? We all have what is called a sympathetic nervous system. This is our body's natural survival mode. It's built in. All right. It's our internal alarm system. God gave us these instincts, which is fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Fawn was added later on, to keep us safe, to handle immediate threats. I want you to put a pin right there. To handle immediate threats. Think about being chased by a bear. Think about being chased by a dog. Think about being chased by a pig if you're in the country. I don't know. Think about being chased by a horse. Think about somebody chasing you. Think about running from the police. Whatever the case may be, if there is an immediate threat, your body will automatically go into fight, flight, or freeze. Again, we will talk about fawn later. And one thing I do want to mention is I lived in flight for such a long time. Like, not too long ago, in 2026, did I get out of flight. And I got out of it because God would not allow me to run. I was in a particular situation and he would not allow. I wanted to run away and I could not. I had to sit there in my healing. I had to sit there and endure the pain of being exposed and being healed. And if you think about it though, whenever you have to go to have surgery, all right, they got to go in and take something out, or they got to cut you open to get something out, right? Think about it. When you go into the hospital, they take you out of the clothes you came in with and dress you in the gown. Okay. And then, they give you socks or whatnot. Then they all come and talk to you. Then you talk to the anesthetist, and that's the person that's going to put you to sleep. And then they put you to sleep, and then you go into the surgery room, right? And when you go into the surgery room, you have to be, in some cases, cut, right? And you have to be under anesthesia because you don't want to be awake while this cut is happening, because I'm pretty sure it's very painful. But they cut you open, and now that you've been cut open, whatever they're going in there to get out has now been exposed. All right. And it's exposed to everybody in the room, sees what this is inside of your body. And the doctor and everybody that's in there, the surgical team, is working to get whatever this is out of you. Cancer, tumor, a baby, whatever it is. So we're not going to say a baby because it's Mother's Day. It's Mother's Month. We're not going to say a baby because a baby's not bad. We're going to say all the other stuff. We're not going to talk about a baby being bad, okay? But just anything that's in you that doesn't need to be there. I'm going to put it like that. Anything that's in you that doesn't need to be there. The doctors have been trained on how to go in and get it out. All right? And you can't get up from that table. You are under anesthesia. You can't get up and say, oh, I don't want this surgery. Y'all done cut me open. I'm exposed. Get me out of here. You cannot do that. You have to lay on that table unconscious, okay, until they're done. And so they open you up, take out whatever they need to take out, sew up whatever they need to sew up, and stitch you back together. And then you go into recovery. All right. And usually you go into recovery, take a little time for you to wake up. You wake up, be all groggy. If you had a trach breathing thing in your mouth, throat be all dry because you was asleep. All right. Now they done woke you up. Now you're not the same, because what you went in there with, you didn't come back out with. All right. But now you're in recovery, and your nurse is going to tell you how you now need to take care of your body, or take care of your leg, or take care of your arm, or whatever the case may be. Now that, this surgery has happened to you, this is where I am. I am in recovery because I had major surgery on my nervous system. Major surgery from dysregulated to regulated. And I had to sit there while God was doing what he was doing. Now, before this point, I didn't ever know what it meant to freeze. But I remember the day that I froze. Not a long story, but a good one. I was married at the time, and I had come home from work. And I don't know about you, but when I used to come home from work, I used to sit in my car. I had to, just give me a couple of minutes. I'm going to be okay. And I had to deal with them folk at work. Then I got to come home and put my mama hat on. Give me a couple of minutes. And my kids, I love them to pieces. they meet me at the front door. I don't even get a chance to get out the car. They are at the door every time. And I appreciate that because some kids don't even want to fool with their parents, don't even want to fool with their mama. So I'm happy that they met me at the front door, but I had to tell them, just had to do like this. Give me a little time. So I remember sitting in the car, and I don't remember all of what I was thinking. I was having many thoughts that day. I do remember the subject, but I don't remember everything else underneath. The subject was, what if my husband at the time has a family on the other side of town? I mean, it's laughable now. But in that moment when I was thinking that, and the reason why I was thinking that is because I was just so very insecure in my marriage. It was a lot going on. And so I literally was like thinking the worst of the worst of the worst. And I was just like, what if he got a family on the other side of town? What if this is fake and, you know, he got kids somewhere else? Like, what if he got a whole nother wife somewhere? And my mind went there because, you know, there were some things that happened where I just didn't trust. I'm just being honest. There were some things that happened where I just didn't trust like I used to. And I was so heavy I was overshadowed with insecurity and anxiety and all that. And in the moment that I thought that, when those thoughts came crashing down on me, I literally froze. I could not move. Everything went numb. And I was just sitting in the car. And I remember I was there's a field south of my house. I was just looking at the field and I could not move. And I don't even remember what I said to myself to get out of the car. I don't remember what happened, but that was the day I froze. And I probably started crying, knowing me, because I was so wounded, so shattered, so all of these things that I was dealing with at the time. Nervous system shot. I'm talking about shot to shingles. I heard somebody say that. I thought it was funny, but just shot. Like it was just ridiculous how my nervous system was just so busted because I had dealt with so much, not only in my marriage, but growing up in my childhood, different things that I saw. My nervous system was it was hyper, which I'll get into. It's called hypervigilance. I'll get into that in a moment. And you remember me telling you guys that I had experienced I was the negative Nancy. Like, I wouldn't be negative to other people, but I was definitely negative with myself. I would be positive to other people and encourage other people, but me, no. I would tell other people, oh, you can do this, God, this, that, and the third. And I didn't believe it for myself because I was just so hard on me. I was so negative with me. And as you guys know, what I like to do, whenever I come with a subject, a topic that something that I've researched, I like to always have a biblical reference. And of course, I pull David because why not? I read in a book that I think the author of the book was saying that Psalms is the soul of the Bible because it talks David, is constantly bearing his soul before God. And the scripture that I'm going to read is Psalm 55. And it's so funny because I remember a time when I was going through some different levels of healing, and I felt like Holy Spirit would always direct me to Psalm because that's just where that's where I was. And I would just be crying, reading, saying, oh my goodness, this is so me. So in Psalm 55, I'll just read 1-3. It says, David said, God, listen to my prayer and do not hide from my plea for help. Pay attention to me and answer me. I am restless and in turmoil with my complaint because of the enemy's words, because of the pressure of the wicked, for they bring down disaster on me and harass me in anger. Then he goes on to say in verses 4-8, my heart shudders within me. Terrors of death sweep over me. Fear and trembling grip me. Horror has overwhelmed me. I said, if I only had wings of a dove, I would fly away and find rest. How far would I flee? I would stay in the wilderness. I would hurry to my shelter from the raging wind and the storm. So he's like, get me out of here. That's flight. They get my enemies. They're doing too much. I don't want to be here. Let me go. Let me go. Let me take the wings of a dove and fly away. He's in flight mode. And so as we go on down to verse 12, David says, now it is not an enemy who insults me. Otherwise, I could bear it. It is not a foe who rises up against me. Otherwise, I could hide from him. Verse 13. He said, but it's you, a man who is my peer, my companion and good friend. He says, verse 14, we used to be in close fellowship. We used to have close fellowship. We walked with the crowd into the house of God. So we went to church together. You was my pew partner. Do you hear what David said? He said, if it was a somebody I didn't know, I could deal with this easily because out of sight, out of mind, I don't have to see you. He said, but you was my friend. You was my friend. And then, David, he goes on to say, let death take them by surprise. This is the friend he's talking about. Let death take them by surprise. Let them go down to Sheol alive. Burn them alive. Because evil is in their homes and within them. Then he says, but I call to God, and the Lord will save me. And the Lord, it says, I complain and groan morning, noon, and night, and he hears my voice. He says, though many are against me, he will redeem me from my battle unharmed. God, the one enthroned from long ago, will hear and humiliate them because they do not change and do not fear God. Then as we go down to verse 22, it says, cast your burden on the Lord and he will sustain you. He will never allow the righteous to be shaken. So I love it because David always talked to God about what was going on and how he felt and who it was that was doing whatever it was. And so I just explained that David in this verse, he was betrayed by his friend. So imagine the emotional turmoil that he's going through. Betrayal takes you through ebbs and flows in your nervous system. A whiplash, emotional whiplash, if you will. First we good, now we not. Wait a minute. You was my homie. Wait, hold on. What happened? That's an emotional shock to you. You don't understand what's going on. David's like, get me out of here. I don't want to deal with them. And since I don't want to deal with them, God, go on and kill them. Because they don't deserve to live. David said they don't even deserve to live. They don't even like you, God. Imagine the ebb and the flow of that emotion. And if we would be honest, we can admit that we've gone through that too. We've gone through that too. People come in our life, people come out of our lives. They come for a season or a reason, and depending on what's going on, if they just shut it all off or something happens, we're like, now wait a minute now. What is going on here? I don't understand. How we go from being like this to being like that? I don't get it. How we go from being stable to being unstable. Very valid questions, but it does something to your nervous system and your body. If you pay attention to your body, you will begin to feel certain things in your body when you're dealing with certain stuff. Frustration, anger, whatever the case may be. Somebody that made you mad. My chest used to get tight sometimes. And I knew I needed to calm down. I needed to, something was going on. I remember when I started getting migraine headaches back to back to back. Your body is going to speak to you. It's going to respond. It is going to let you know something is going on in your body. Your nervous system is going to let you know that something is going on. So you have to pay attention to your body. The second example is Elijah. And we know from Elijah 1 Kings 18 and 1 Kings 19 what happened. So, Elijah was with the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. And Elijah was talking cash, money, trash about Baal. Where is he at? What's going on? Ain't nothing happening. The people were cutting themselves and crying out to Baal, and nothing happened. And then it was time for him to step up on the scene. He stepped on the scene. God did his thing. He told Ahab, eat and drink. I hear the sound of rain. And so he did all that. He got in the birthing position, told his servant, go look out, go look out, go look out. Servant eyes was finally open. He saw a fist, and so it was going to rain. And then Ahab told Jezebel what happened, and Jezebel sent a message to Elijah and said, I'm going to kill you because you think that's what you thought. I'm going to kill you. And Elijah ran for his life. He took off running. And as I was reading this, what was so amazing to me, that even though he took off running and he got somewhere and got up under a tree, he told God in chapter 19, verse 4, he told him, he said, I've had enough. Take my life, for I am no better than my fathers. Then he went to sleep. And I don't know if you've ever been in on an emotional roller coaster where you're just emotionally exhausted. Like you just had it. You're emotionally exhausted, and you probably done cried yourself to sleep, or you're tired of fighting, you're tired of arguing, and the only thing you can do is go to sleep. And I'm going to say that is probably the best thing to do when you ain't nothing else for you to do. You might not feel like eating. You might not feel like watching TV. Everything is just crazy. Just go lay down. Just go lay down. Take your rest. Clear your head. When you hear people say, oh, well, let me sleep on it, that's a very real thing, because you give your nervous system a chance to kind of calm down a little bit. You give yourself time to calm down a little bit, and then get back up the next day and face whatever it is. So I noticed that he rested. And then as he was asleep, an angel came and told him to get up so he could eat. And so he got up, he ate, and then he went back to sleep. The angel came again and told him to wake up again and eat, because he needed to eat. He needed strength for the journey. Now, in chapter 19, it goes on to say that Elijah walked for 40 days and 40 nights until he made it to a cave. And he was hiding out in the cave. And in the scripture, it says that the word of the Lord came to him, which we know that's Jesus, came to him and said, why are you here? And he began to explain, like, I performed mightily, I served and I did this, but now they want to kill me, so I'm hiding. And so let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it's chapter 19, verse 10. Elijah replied, I have been very zealous for the Lord God of armies, but the Israelites have abandoned your covenant, torn down your altars, and killed your prophets with the sword. I alone am left, and they are looking for me to take my life. So he was emotionally secure. Everything was good. He was doing what God told him to do. Everything worked out. God performed a miracle. He slaughtered the prophets. He told the king, hey, go eat, go drink. You know what I'm saying? Rain is coming. He was with his servant. The servant looked out. The finally saw the fist that was coming. Got the message. Oh, no, she gonna kill me. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? I can't even imagine doing this great. Well, actually, I can. In my mind. Because when I read the stories of the Bible, it's all in pictures. So I can imagine him being so excited and so amazed at what God did. And then all of a sudden, now he's about to be, murdered. They're looking for him. That is such an emotional whiplash, so fast that, he ran for his life. 40 days. You got to be serious to walk 40 days and 40 nights to get to a cave. It didn't say he ran. It said he walked 40 days and 40 nights. And it never said that he ate again. Mind you, it never said that he ate anything else again. It said he ate. The angel told him to eat because he's going to need strength for the journey. And then the next verse says he walked 40 days and 40 nights. The emotional whiplash. The other thing that I noticed about, even with David and with Elijah, they were never rebuked for their moments that they had of humanness. Never. I didn't read it where David got rebuked for feeling the way he did. I didn't read it when the word of the Lord came to Elijah. He just asked him, "Why are you here? Why are you here? What's going on?" And that lets me know that God knows what it takes. He knows what it takes. He knows how much you can take. He knows how to come and sit with you while you're in what you're going through. It reminds me, what's bubbling up in me, it reminds me of the woman that was caught in adultery. And they brought her before Jesus. And Jesus sat down. He squatted down on the ground. And he started drawing in the sand. And they were just like, "So, I mean, you ain't going to say nothing?" And he was like, "Well, he who is without sin cast the first stone." Like, he was with her in her pain. That's how I look. He was with her. He didn't accuse her. Go in peace. Sin no more. Because they all walked away after he said that. He who is without sin cast the first stone. Jesus can be with you on your journey of your dysregulation to regulation of your nervous system. Why do I say that so strongly? Because he was with me when I was with mine. Matter of fact, he orchestrated that my nervous system be regulated, because it's been dysregulated for many, 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 many years. And I didn't even have a grid for it. Had no grid, had no idea. Didn't understand what it was until, like, fully understood till now. I'm 45. Till now, I fully understand what it is. Let's talk about isolation, because unhealthy isolation is a thing, and it is withdrawal as avoidance, right? And when isolation starts becoming a tool for regulation, it becomes a hiding place itself. So Elijah was in a cave, and although you may not be in a cave physically, you could very well be in a cave mentally and emotionally. And what we have to do is we have to invite Jesus into the cave. Invite him into the cave, because sometimes we isolate and we ice everybody out. I used to say cut game is strong. Cut game strong. I ain't got time. Cut game strong. Nope. That's not really healthy to say. It's not. I have learned how to create healthy boundaries, but I also used to isolate because I couldn't be around anybody. I felt like the emotional stuff that I was going through was too much, and I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer around the people that I was around. No offense to anybody named Debbie, but I didn't want to be, just so down around people that I was hanging around. So I wouldn't come around. I wouldn't podcast. I wouldn't do anything because my emotions were shot. I was at capacity. And that's another thing. Like, you have to know when your body is talking to you. If you have had a lot going on in the day, sometimes your nervous system is done. And it's like, we can't do no more. Sometimes, I'll speak for myself. I had one particular week, months ago, I had to go to my kids' school for a parent-teacher conference. Then I was dealing with some friendship stuff. And then some other stuff happened. Then I had to deal with this. But it was so much that was happening. By the time I got home, all I wanted to do was eat and lay down. I had nothing left, and I didn't realize what was going on. What was happening was I was at capacity. There was nothing else that I could do. I needed to lay down to refresh myself, to clear everything out and reset button and start back over. Sometimes you have to hard reset and just go lay down, turn your phone off, go to sleep, get some rest, and get up the next day. Healthy isolation, to pray, to rest, to decompress, to think. You end up feeling calmer, you're thinking clearly, and you're more grounded. We do have to work on grounding ourselves. We can't stay so activated all the time, on edge all the time. That's with the unhealthy isolation. Your nervous system is still activated when you are isolating and you're dysregulated. I remember saying you regulate your nervous system by being in community and in healthy relationships. You can also go to therapy. You can go to the gym. You can work out. Some people don't want to go to therapy. You have to find something. You have to find an outlet to get that out of your body. You have to get it out of your body. People talk about breath work and things like that. I do a lot of deep breathing sometimes. I will sit on the floor and put my legs on the wall and put my hands over my head. That lowers your heart rate and causes you to breathe deeply. I do that. I've done that before. I haven't done it in a while, but that is a technique that I've done before to help calm me down, because there have been times I couldn't take it no more. My heart was racing, high blood pressure, hair falling out, all the things. Pay attention to your body. One thing I wanted to mention was Jesus is also a great example of healthy isolation, because he used to steal away. Like, they would say he would disappear in the crowd. He would be up in the mountain praying. I always wondered how he got up in the mountains and he had them sandals on. Because the mountains is slick. But I don't know. He's Jesus. He's Christ, God and man. I don't know how he did it. But he was going into the mountains to pray. And he would do it after having been around a large crowd. He needed to go regulate himself. He needed to go talk to his Father. So I said all that to say we have work to do. We can't just keep feeling some type of way. We can't just keep ignoring what our body is saying to us. We can't keep running. We can't keep freezing. We can't keep fighting. Many of us are older. We can't, at some point, you got to sit down with you and figure out what's going on. And I know it's not easy, because having to look in a mirror and look at your wounds and confess to operating out of your wounds and making decisions out of your wounds, you got to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I have been operating out of rejection and abandonment. I have been people pleasing. I have been fighting. I've been popping off on everybody. Okay, well, let's figure out why you've been doing that. Not me. I'm saying go talk to a therapist. Y'all already know I'm going to be a proponent for therapy. Go sit down on somebody's couch. Go figure out. Go get a close friend. Y'all talk it out. Walk it out. Invite Jesus into that space. Ask him to judge your heart. Ask him to judge your heart. What's in my heart? If there's anything in me that's not like you, take it out. And once he starts taking it out, don't try to grab it back. Once you lay it down, don't try to pick it back up. Okay? All right. So like I said before, God can be with you as you're on your journey and your discovery. Psalms 23, one of my favorite parts of that psalm is that he maketh me to lie down in green pastures, because sometimes we don't know when to quit. Sometimes we don't know when to lay down. We just keep going. We raggedy. We busted up. We going off on everybody. Or we ain't talking to nobody. Or we done froze completely. And we're not even here anymore. Fawn has more to do with people pleasing to keep the peace. You want to be safe, so you people pleasing. You want to make sure that you don't rock the boat. That's people pleasing. So what I would like for you to sit with and think about, like I just said, think about if you're angry, think about your anger. If you're sad all the time, look into what the spirit of heaviness is. Like I said, if you got an attitude all the time, you popping off on everybody, you're probably tired, frustrated, and angry about something. You need to figure out what it is, because I'm pretty sure it's not the kids. It's not the kids and it's not the dog. So it's probably maybe not be your job. You need to figure out internally what's going on. And once you do that, think about it. When did I get this way? When did I start popping off? When was I last happy? When was the last time I had joy? When was the last time I just enjoyed being by myself? You got to ask those questions. Because we're in the hustle and bustle and we're so busy, sometimes we don't even sit to ask ourselves questions. What do I like? Where do I want to go? What do I want to see? How do I feel today? Sometimes we wait for other people to ask us that question, but you ask yourself, how do I feel today about me? Are you negatively talking to yourself? Are you still trying to control everything? What are you doing? You gotta ask yourself the questions. What are you doing? I am going to post the link in the show notes for therapy for Black girls, because this is where I found my first two therapists, and they were both amazing. And most therapists nowadays take all major insurance, so check with your insurance and this or that to see what you can get. But it's important that you talk to somebody, and if you're not going to talk to a therapist, talk to a friend. And if your friend don't want to talk to you, then go talk to a therapist, because I ain't no therapist. I have been therapied. I'm not a therapist though, but I do read, and I do a lot of research on what it is I'm reading about. So that we make sure we covered that right. So we know David was in flight mode in Psalms 55. We know that Elijah was in flight mode, and that was pretty much it. Yeah, he ran for his life, so he was in flight mode. He didn't want to fight. He was in flight mode. All right. So your homework for the week until I see you again. Number 1 is to ask God to show you what's hidden. Tell him to make you aware of what's hidden. And then write him a letter. If you want to write, you don't want to talk, write him a letter about what he shows you. So that'll be your awareness is asking him what's hidden. Bring awareness to that. And then your response, write a letter, which will be your responses. He's waiting on you. He always is. He's always available to talk. He's waiting on you to sit at his feet. Many a days I have went in my closet and sat at his feet. Sometimes I said some words, sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I cried, sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I sang songs, sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I'm just sitting there in the quiet, because sometimes we just need to shut up. Forgive me later. Sometimes we just need to shut up. We just need to be quiet and just sit in his presence. So that's all I got. I hope that you have a super duper weekend. Go out and be great. Be kind to somebody. Love on yourself. Be kind to yourself. All right. And know that God loves you. And so do I. See you later.